1 second, we are getting ready.
We'll start off with a prayer now. Arutperum Jodi, Arutperum Jodi, Taniperum Karunai, Arutperum Jodi, எல்லா உயிர்களும் இன்புற்று வாழ்க, வள்ளல் மலரடி வாழ்க வாழ்க. அருள் விளக்கே அருட்சுடரே, அருள் ஜோதி சிவமே, அருளமுதே அருள் நிறைவே, அருள் வடிவ பொருளே, இருள் கடிந்தென் உளமுழுதும் இடம் கொண்ட பதியே, என் அறிவே என் உயிரே, எனக்கினிய உறவே, மருள் கடிந்த மாமணியே, மாற்றறியா பொன்னே, மன்றில் நடம் புரிகின்ற மணவாளா, எனக்கே பேருளளித்த திருவாளா, ஞான உருவாளா, தெய்வ நட தரசேனான் செய்மொழியேற்றருள், அருள் விளக்கே அருட்சுடரே, அருள் ஜோதி சிவமே, அருள் ஜோதி சிவமே. அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி அருட்பெரும் ஜோதி, அருட்பெரும் கருணை ஜோதி, எல்லா உயிர்களும் இன்புற்று வாழ்க, வள்ளல் மலரடி வாழ்க வாழ்க. Let all living beings live blissfully ever after. Now I request Muruganandam to briefly introduce our esteemed speaker for today, Mr. Dhoni Paul from Queensland.
Hello, can everybody hear me clearly?
Yes, Dhoni, we are able to hear you.
You can hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, good. That's where I was concerned. I really appreciate being asked to have my impression on what's happening in post-pandemic. It was a very interesting question. I think the question sort of breaks into two lots. The question of, or the title of it, it goes under Valor's compassion, and then post-pandemic, which is it's quite interesting, the processes of what we're going through at the moment. For us personally, we divine ourselves in the clarity of the pineal gland, and this is in behalf of Valala's learning lessons and processes. As far as the compassion is concerned, I feel that the most compassion that we should be able to extend ourselves fully with the full ability of what the pineal gland can do, and the clarity of the pineal will give us the connection to the greater consciousness. The greater consciousness, we all have this ability to connect to the greater consciousness, but they are limited, depending on the person, the conditions of their body and their awareness of their creativity, because creativity itself is like exercising the pineal gland. And creativity, one cannot generate the fresh new ideas without connecting to the pineal gland. I also find that this anxiety a lot of people are suffering from, as myself, the anxiety, the fear factors, the judging others, this sort of things that we all tend to naturally do. This also comes through the clarity of the pineal gland. If we don't have this clarity, then naturally we're going to have more anxiety. We're going to have more judgment on other people. We're going to do this naturally. And I think it's a good warning sign to people to recognize that, okay, I'm suffering from anxiety, I'm having problems. This is because of the clarity of the body and the clarity to the pineal gland. So I think this is a major factor that as a group, as people that actually follow the proceeds of the compassion and follows the proceeds of what Valhalla has generated is the scientific realm of what the pineal can actually do. The pineal is also been recognized in other ancient processes such as Egyptians and so forth. And I do believe that manifestation, the truth of manifestation, comes through the pineal gland, because this awareness and this connection physically is giving us this ability. So yeah, this is where we're at the moment, because there is a lot of sequences and detox processes. For myself and my wife, we study a lot of Ayurvedic processes, and the Ayurvedic processes are quite definitely aligned in with the Siddha processes through Tamil and the Siddha processes of what Valhalla did. And I think it's not so much if we want to look at ourselves psychologically and our processes and of compassion, we cannot get that, definitely cannot get that clarity unless we have clarity within ourselves. So I feel this personally, this is how I've gathered the teachings and the writings and my actual connection, because I do have connection as well to the greater consciousness of proceeds. And this greater consciousness, naturally one needs to be content, and one needs to have that programmed around them to actually have the ability to detox themselves and detox the processes of it all. But from that, this ability to follow through with this pandemic that we are in. Pandemic's like nearly a different subject from this, but it is also definitely worthwhile feeling and understanding what we're going through. I can only go through from my own study. My own study started 30 years ago about this pandemic that we're actually going through, and this study actually lined me up to go to the proceeds through Valhalla. So the pandemic itself was an advantage to what we're going through, through the advantage of knowing what Valhalla did for us all. But the pandemic itself, if I was to give a description of a post-pandemic, like I said, it's an interesting topic. Post-pandemic is when this is when we were into total contentment. Post-pandemic is when this is totally finished. The pandemic isn't a short thing. It is a conclusive thing. To give one a description, I hope one can have this time, because this is what I have gathered. If something else comes in behalf of it, that is fine. But this is from the readings I have got, and this is one from the proceeds of what this pandemic is lined up through. This is a gathering of people that are in power. These are people that do not have that belief structure of spiritual realm, and they don't generate themselves in the pineal realm. So the people that are in power The people in power are generally a Marxist factor, and the Marxist factor is generating this. Marxism is a belief structure that religion is the opium of the people, meaning that, you know, they feel like it's just like a drug. You know, to have spirituality is just like having a drug. So they don't believe it's necessary. Humans should be more like robotic and conformed. And also most of these Marxist practices go through the evolution process. And because they're in evolution, they all believe that they come from a less primitive animal and then come into this sort of technology structure of humanity that we're in now. It's completely different from the Hindu aspect, but this is how it is, and they're the ones that are in power at the moment. So post-pandemic is when this is finished, and to how I've read it, that when this post-pandemic arrives, we ourselves are in virtually the last stages of transition into the Jyoti. This is post-pandemic. This means that as humans, we have the ability to actually do this process of not needing to consume food, not needing to consume air. We don't need air. So we're at the high abilities of this. This is post-pandemic. The initial of post-pandemic, the writings that I have states that there will be a group of people that will be together in 4 major places on the planet. One of the places I have recognized is one here in Australia. The groups of people that are eventually going to this place at this time in the future will follow through to the point where they are lifted up, and they're lifted up to be in a position to not be suffering anymore. The suffering is actually completely finished on the planet. As far as humanity is concerned, the suffering will be finished. There won't be any more power control. There won't be any more system. There won't be any more Maya. No human Maya. The illusion is completely gone. The abilities then with the people that are left behind, this is the final step in transition. The issues that we have mainly is that to do a transition into the Jyoti and to the responsibility of what we have with this matter that we're living in, because responsibility in this matter means the capabilities of helping other living beings. Much as I read of Valhalla, when he was had a lot of influx of people touching him and asking him to heal them. He was there to heal people, but at the same time, he knew that there was only one thing that he could do to actually fix things up, is to be everywhere at the same time, you know. And this is why he did the transition, because in the realm that he exists in, the Jyoti, there isn't any time and there isn't any space. So in that process, he can be anywhere at exactly the same time as he is with us now. So in this concept that we have, the responsibility we have is how I've read is what they call the first resurrection. And the first resurrection in this post-pandemic processes means that we're manifesting the return of those who have died previously. Everyone has this opportunity to live again, and the manifestation brings on those who have died. Those who have died to actually do the transition, just as the initial people will be doing when the post-pandemic proceeds start. So in this attitude, how I've gathered up numbers, you know, like with what the numbers that they suggest In the post-pandemic, the groups themselves range from about 37,000 to each group. And in this 37,000, they are all doing the transition, except for the ones that actually manifest the beginning of the resurrection. And they themselves will initiate it, and then also the transition will follow through. The numbers that I'm giving as what I've read in this transition is supposed to last for 1,000 years, but in that 1,000 years, for those who've done the transition, it really doesn't matter because they've done that transition as the jyoti, and the relay of people being resurrected will be doing the same transition as the proceeds come through. Resurrection is a material thing. Resurrection starts in this matter that we are all in at the moment. And then the process into transition is within their heart and soul and then with the pineal gland. So post-pandemic, this proceeds from where we're existing now as a group, as people, and where we're going to and what we're doing is towards this post-pandemic process. And it, for me at the moment, I can't see it finishing within 5 years, maybe 6 years, I should say, 6 years. So we've got 6 years of this process towards post-pandemic. And for every individual that goes through their own heart and their own pineal to do the transition is most important. It is quite serious. It's a serious factor. We can't sort of think back that, oh yeah, look, someone says this, someone says that. I get a lot of people that say, oh, you're pushing your belief structure onto me, because a lot of people have their guard up, their resistance against the truth. So they have to close the door. And because there's so much, a lot of energy that's been pushed out from people that think what is correct and what is not correct. The most thing, like I suggest, the health factor with the pineal gland, I can't say that there could not be anything more important than doing this, because this gives us the truth. This gives us the answers. This gives us direction towards the necessary factors of post-pandemic. With the compassion, there's nothing better to promote compassion than having compassion recognized and endured strongly through oneself first. One can do whatever they want to show physically how to do compassion, but if one has not got that clarity, then naturally they're not doing their full 100%. And this is where it's important. That 100% is important. Like I said, we can have a short time of spending ourselves with the greater consciousness, or we can totally be within the greater consciousness at the same time. So this is the choice that we make. And towards the greater consciousness being with us totally at the post-pandemic processes, then this is what we all need to understand. Even if I was to promote a abstract picture of what the post-pandemic structure is, but it's not my, I admit, it's not my abstract. This is off the Book of Revelation and a lot of other processes that state what humanity will do in this process. Just to get to that point and be looking after one's health in the pineal gland is most important. It's more important than whatever happens at post-pandemic. And the other factor is that association, because I noticed that we have energy lots, and with the post-pandemic, if we don't generate ourselves in the direction of this healthy, positive energy, then what we're doing, we're holding ourselves back and we're holding others back. This is a period of time that if you are relating to someone that's, for example, that that drinks or smokes marijuana or eats meat, and he has got this obnoxious attitude, sure, wish them well, but it is time to separate yourself. This is the time to be totally separated from this realm. This is the time that we need to get into being more sensitive to what is ahead of us, and this is the only way to do it is to be cleansing and to feel what is right for our future. That is about all I can say at the moment, because the whole topic is on post-pandemic. Between here and post-pandemic, there's a lot more of a topic, but this is the topic, so I will conclude on what I've said. Thank you very much. If there's any questions or anything like that, that is fine. I'm prepared to answer them.
Thank you very much, Tony. It was really very useful, and you've given a clear path how we need to head ahead at this moment. So we'll ask the participants if there is any questions we can discuss on that. It could be anything related to compassion or way of life, or how we can manage our lifestyle in this pandemic and moving forward. Any questions we can discuss?
Dhoni, thanks for your wonderful message. Just a question, like you mentioned about some 4 centers will form, and Australia being one center to
Yes.
get. So where was the idea? Like, is it based on any in a book, or and what are the 4 centers? Can you mention?
Yeah, it's actually in the Book of Revelation. The Book of Revelation is written by John in Patmos, in the island of Patmos, and he had the strongest connection with Jesus. They tried to boil him alive in oil, and he escaped to the island of Patmos in Greece. And he wrote down the Book of Revelation in the concepts of the proceeds of psychology, and with the knowledge, the greater knowledge of the astronomy, because astronomy is naturally, the Hindus have got a strong aspect on astronomy, which is still a lot of Western culture can't grasp. Even the concept of their physics is different to the Hindus. They can't understand ether, space. So the connection to this greater knowledge, Saint John, they classed, wrote these processes down in the astronomy factors. The realization of the processes was written also through Jesus, and he actually wrote it down because he said there was a proceed, a physical proceed, and the physical proceed is also happening right now. The first one is what we, as a human race, as a whole, as a general holistic people, and communicating holistically. Like I'm in Cairns, and I'm communicating to people that are in Sydney or Brisbane or wherever completely freely. This is a unique ability that we've got to actually have this holistic concept. But as far as the psychology of limitations of what people can do, my example, I would say that if you know a person that eats meat and drinks beer, smokes whatever, takes his pharmaceutical drugs, watches football every Saturday night, and he goes to work continuously 9 to 5. So this person, you know exactly what they're going to do from week to week to week to week. Exactly. Every Saturday night he's going to watch football. So he's actually predictable. He hasn't got that freedom within themselves. So this is why they have got prophecies, because prophecies recognize that the majority of humanity will go down the same process together. And what we have to do is separate that realm. The 4 centers are high places that are outside the earthquake zone. If you do research, if you were to do anything on Google or even maps and look at the highest abilities of places that are outside the earthquake zone, you'll only find 4. And each one of them actually has been identified through ancient processes. The one that is in Niger, which is on the south end of Algeria, in the mountains there, that is a sacred area. You know, we tried to go there, and we met Algerians that have actually told us about the sacred area there, and we went there initially because of the landmark through the atlases and so forth. The other one is in Mongolia, which used to be classed as Shangri-La. This is just north of China. There's another spot, and there's another one which is a strong one, which is on the southeast of Canada, which is above the Great Lakes. This is another place that has also got the corner. It's like the 4 corners of the earth. This is also recognized as sacred ground. If you go to these places, people there will also generate and explain exactly the same thing, which I've found through my searching processes through the years, you know, of each destiny. I've actually, you know, relied on the relay of what people feel and what they've heard and told about these destinies. And also, even if you were to go to the one that is in Australia, you will find people there that will tell you the same thing. The one that's here in Australia is up behind Bellingen, near Ebor, near Coffs Harbour. It is also a destiny that is outside the earthquake zone, and it's high. They even define it as a valley that runs east to west. That is there. So, for me personally, it's not so much to think about the destiny of where we're going. It's more about the actual destiny of what we're doing with our pineal. This is from my travels and from my processes being backing down and around that area and everything. The association is not an easy factor. The association of people that are generating this factor towards the pineal in Australia is very, very low. And to find that association that are determined to detox and be in the greater consciousness, to be in the greater consciousness 24 hours a day, every day of the year, these type of people, they are very, very, very rare. You know, we may find them in India, or they have been there, or there may be some there in India now. Fine. But in Australia, we have, as far as I know, we have none. So we have to generate this ourselves. There's no sort of escape route out of this process. There's no escape. Even if one wants to go anywhere on the planet, there's no escape route. You know, to learn about people are gonna. If we were to go to India now, if we all went to someone that is in this greater consciousness 24 hours. Sure, he may give us the energy that we feel that we need, but it still comes back to ourselves, and it comes back to that clarity in the pineal. So for us as Australians, for the Australian continent that we're going to go through, I'll tell you the truth, we are in the easiest part of what is about to happen. This is the easiest part. When the cashless world comes in, this is where the struggle is going to happen. And that is not very far away. So as far as the destiny of these 4 places are concerned, we are lucky. We're on the continent. We have to accept that. We're on the continent that has it, the physical ability to do this. We are lucky for this. But as far as us being able to go to these places, or this one in Australia, we have to conclude ourselves with our pineal and our connection to the greater consciousness.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from anyone?
I think this lead up towards what we're going through is really another topic altogether. You know, actually accept that we have a great opportunity ahead of us that will remove all suffering in all aspects. This is the most prominent realm. I can't sort of get myself lost into that too much. Myself personally, I accept the outcome and the processes, but truly for us, we still need to generate that pineal factor, and that is more of an issue than anything.
Thank you, Donny, for the excellent speech. I have a question on our most important and I think a debatable topic on vaccination. So what is
Okay.
your take on that? Is that kind of, how is that going to be? We all know that it's not going to be the solution, ultimate solution for the problem that we are confronting.
Yeah.
So you said people who are dwelling in the higher consciousness is zero.
Yeah.
It's very hard to take that, but how do we then promote this message of compassion to the Australians?
This is an interesting. So this is like I said, this is a beforehand question, before post pandemic. This is a question of this. I don't know if I have enough time to explain everything, but I will have to do it briefly as best I can. The generated power, the most strong generated power that is going towards this vaccine is coming through the same proceeds that Nazi did with chemical experiments with the human beings back in World War II. The same company. The same company also did Ancient Orange and even Roundup, the poisoning Roundup. These are all the same companies or company. And the major investor in this company at the moment is Bill Gates. Now, Bill Gates is a Marxist processor. He's an evolutionary Marx processor with a lot of money. He doesn't know what he's doing because he thinks in this material world that we're living in is the only existence that we have. So he believes that we're overpopulated and we have to bring the population down. The actual vaccine is targeting the pineal gland. So if one has got this choice in oneself, this choice in their heart and their head, do we go through the valvular transition of the greater pineal gland, or are we going to pollute ourselves with the vaccine? I've actually got what they call a forbidden short video of Bill Gates on how he had targeted the Afghanistans with the vaccines, which was hidden in the processes to actually shut down or close down this pineal effective. You see, the reason was how it initiated was, and in Afghanistan, they have this suicide bombers, as you know. The suicide bombers have got this connection to what they believe in their spirituality will give them a higher realm of existence if they actually sacrifice themselves this way. So what Bill Gates felt that he was going to target these people that feel that there's a spiritual realm that doesn't actually exist. So the only way he could do it was target the pineal gland. And these vaccines, this is where conforming factors are going to separate people. Because once this cashless society goes into the realm, the people will be pointing fingers at those who do not have the immunization. Those people that are in the cities at the moment, there's going to be a strong segregation. So we have to understand, if one wants to go and get themselves immunized, then they're going to have to go through a detox process, and that detox process is just for the actual signature to say that you can go to point A to point B. Then really what one should be doing is moving themselves out of that situation, meaning get out of the cities. The traveling processes, if one wants to go to back to India and say, look, I want to see my family, such and such and such, the one has to understand their own ego processes for first, the ego processes, and also have to understand that when they're going back to them, what is the main reason why you're going back there? What is it? Because they are suffering at the moment as well. This is why they're having these farming factors, these farming processes, these farming issues are coming across. This is another struggle. That is what GMO is putting onto India through the through Bill Gates as well, because they are getting the seeds, the natural seeds of India, which are great. They want to remove the natural seeds and go underneath the title of the weed poisoning, because the seeds that they are selling are, they're strong against the weed poisoning. But the trouble is, you can't develop the seeds into healthy trees or healthy fruit or whatever it comes from, corn or whatever, because they're all been affected by genetic modification. So yeah, how we should be looking at this immunization. Personally, one has to go inside themselves and really look if they really want to pollute their pineal or not, if they want to be a part of the conformed realm, because as soon as this immunization goes through, it's targeting the conforming factors. The main reason this immunization is coming through, I'll tell you truthfully, why they're doing this immunization, because, and this processes of the pandemic is to induce the investments into cryptocurrency, because the cryptocurrency at the moment is growing in high investment values, and the investment values lets these people that are actually got businesses that are actually collapsing, big businesses that are collapsing because of this reason, and they have to invest this money away and aside because of these shutdowns and border controls and this sort of thing. Their businesses are collapsing, so they're investing more into the cryptocurrency because the investment values are higher. The cryptocurrency will generate towards the cashless world. This is what this is all targeting for. We're targeting towards a cashless program. The cashless program is where the whole control over the conformed ones and bring the population realm down. So yeah, as far as vaccines are concerned, and those people who are going to vaccines, the more that we conform ourselves into this vaccine, the more control they have over. They will take your children and they will vaccine them without your choice or not. They're doing to the old people first. They already started preparing this in Poland and Europe. So in Australia, it won't be very far. The elderly are the ones, and they will make it mandatory if they can get away with it. But there will always be certain resistance. This is why I'm saying, again, this is why we need to have this pineal identification to give us clarity, to be able to manifest our way around this. There isn't any other option. So yeah, that's the best way I could answer that question.
Thank you, Donny. The statistics you revealed was like very shocking. In fact, yeah, as you are already aware, like we have to share all this global karma, and the right way to go about is to detoxify the pineal gland and see how we can manifest ourselves. Thank you, Donny. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dhoni, for your time today and sharing much needed information and details today with us.
It's been a pleasure. It's such a pleasure.
Sure, we'll catch up in the future as well. Have a great day.
Association is so important. No.
Yep. Thank you very much, Dhoni.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Aruparam Jyoti.
Arutparinjodi, Arutparinjodi, Taniparinkarunai, Arutparinjodi.
I will finish the talk.
Yep.
Thank you.
எல்லோருக்கும் வணக்கம். இப்போ தோனி சொன்னதுல இருந்து உங்களுக்கு என்ன அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் ஆனது? அதுல இருந்து வேற ஏதாவது கேள்விகள் இல்லை இருந்தா நம்ம டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணலாம் ஃபர்தரா. இல்லை இன் ஜென்ரல் வேற எதுவும் இன் ஜென்ரலா கொஸ்டின் இருந்தா கூட நம்ம டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணலாம். தேவி அக்கா, பழனிவேல் ஐயா, அருணா அம்மாவா ஏன்னு தெரியல, ஜாயின் பண்ணியிருக்கிறாங்க.
வணக்கங்க. ஒரு சின்ன கருத்து.
சொல்லுங்க.
அவர் சொன்னதெல்லாம் கரெக்ட் இருந்தாலும் அவர் வேக்சின் பத்தி சொன்னது இதுல எனக்கு தனி